Worked on this ranch. That was in the fall of '61. My dad and I often helped Wayne Rogler ship cattle. Helped a lot of people and ship out of Aikman and Cassidy and Matfield Green here, and we'd often help him ship cattle. And we finished shipping in the fall there, in early October there in '61. And Wayne asked if I wanted to stay on. He's getting some Mississippi cattle in later that fall, and wanted to know if I wanted to stay on and help look after them. I didn't have anything else to do. I'd graduated from K-State in the spring of 1961, and I didn't do anything for 2 years except work on places like this and rodeo and, just kind of hunt coons and waste time and enjoy myself. So anyway, I hired on with Wayne and I helped him on this ranch, and it's a pretty interesting job. Wayne is an interesting man to work for. He's an excellent cattleman, rancher. I learned from him that a rancher does not raise cattle. A rancher raises grass. And if you don't take care of that grass, you're going to be out of business. So the most important thing is not the cattle, it's the grass. I learned that from him. I also learned a lot of local history. He took me out, I was out with him one time on one of these hills, and he said I could stand on this hill and point out a dozen places where men died with their boots on back in the 19th century. And he gave me a lot of good early Flint Hills history. Anyway, I lived at home only 10 miles away from the ranch, which is just, we were not here. This is where Henry Rogler, his father, lived on just the other side of the road up there. And every morning I'd get up and drive up here, and Wayne the first couple of weeks, those cattle weren't in yet, so I was just doing odd jobs here and there. And he'd come out and he'd tell me something to do, and then I'd start, hadn't got around to it, he'd tell me something else to do, and then something else to do. And one of the older guys on the place says, when Wayne tells you something to do, says jump on it right away before he has a chance to tell you to do something else. But then I got better advice from one of the older hands, and he said, what you want to do is pick the best of those 2 or 3 or 4 jobs that Wayne mentions. One sounds like the most fun and the least work, and start doing that. Yeah. I could never understand how he really made it work, because he was this and then that, and we'll do this and then we'll do that. But by golly, he knew what he was doing. He was one of the first men, I think, to talk about double stalking, and that was 20 years before it came popular, before people began doing it. Anyway, I stayed, he got those Mississippi cattle in. We put them right on that West Frew pasture, just right on the Butler County line, and it's just across on the Chase County line. And my job was to go out and look after those cattle. And they'd come from Mississippi. And this was mid-October, and then we were having an early fall. It was cold. It was spitting snow and drizzling, and those cattle did not look too good. Besides a little bit of shipping fever, they also had come from that warmer country, and they were not ready for a cold winter here, and they got sick. Now Wayne, like most ranchers, never wanted to see you take your rope off your saddle. I worked for other men in this area, and boy, they were ranchers, and you didn't take a rope down. When my sister and I were just helping our dad, we'd rope heels, we'd rope weeds, fence posts, whatever. But boy, not around a good rancher. They know that any time you got a rope down, you're wanting to rope something, and that's going to run weight off the animal. So Wayne never wanted to see a rope in your hand. But those cattle were sick. And every morning he'd give me a bottle of antibiotic and a couple of syringes, some needles, and say, go look at the cattle. He knew, he never mentioned the rope on my saddle horn, but he knew what I was going to have to do. And I did. I really got a lot of good roping in that fall in those cattle, because they were sick, and I'd rope, 3, 4, 5 a day, I guess. And I had a couple of horses. I didn't have to use my own horse. I had a couple of 3-year-olds here. One was a little sorrel blaze-faced mare that we called Mary Ann. Mary Ann Rogler was Wayne's daughter. Nice little quarter horse mare. they'd been started. I didn't have to break them or anything. They've been going. And the other was another 3-year-old. He was about a part thoroughbred. They called him Pockets, High Pockets, because he was tall and lanky. And I'd roped those steers on them. High Pockets, the first day or two, he thought he wanted to pitch, but he got over that pretty quick. And they were already broken, doing pretty good. By the time I left, toward the end of November, they were really doing well. Anyway, Wayne never mentioned the rope, but he knew what I was doing out there. And that practice was good because that fall, that was my brother-in-law, my soon-to-be brother-in-law. I went to Chicago to the rodeo. I quit there in late November, and we went to the rodeo there in Chicago, there at the Union Stockyards. And I ended up winning 3rd place in the calf roping and got enough money. I didn't have to work until well into the next spring. It was pretty nice. And when I left, Wayne replaced me with Tom Burton, who lives right up the road here. Tom stayed with Wayne for 45 years or so. And he even stayed on with the ranch after Wayne had died. Stayed on until Elizabeth died, I think, and became the foreman. If hadn't gone to that rodeo, I'd have been foreman of this ranch maybe. But on the other hand, teaching college classes is a pretty good way to make a living.